First day of action in the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Championships from Winterberg in Germany. On a soaking wet track, the German home field advantage did not seem to have worked in the first of the four heats. Olympic silver medalist Axel Jung found himself a very disappointed 10th place on a track that more resembled whitewater rafting than winter ice sliding. Chen Wenhao of China had moved substantially up the order from 15th to be the leader at this stage with a very clean run, and that was the only way of building speed on the soaking wet track. Jung had a much better second trip down to take the lead away from his Chinese rival. Axel still led as we got to China's best place slider, Yin Cheng. Yin coming here fresh off 2 World Cup wins in the last 2 outings, hitting perfect form for the World Championships. But those are both on really tricky drivers' tracks. This is one where you have to be cool, calm and collected. And it seemed he could make that gear change really nicely. 7th in the first heat, a blistering run put him into the leader's box where he would remain. Amedeo Bagnis of Italy, last year's World Championship silver medalist. The Italian women had had a horror story day one. The Italian men fared a little better. Bagnis was in 5th position after the first of the 4 heats, 2 on day 1, 2 on day 2. And an early advantage over Yin Cheng looked like it might hang on. But late height in 11 made at the bottom of the track was going to be a tricky conundrum. And climbing uphill through the final corner, the green numbers turned red. Yin remained in the leader's box, getting wetter by the minute. As we got to the final 2 sleds, it was still Yin of China who led. But Matt Weston, the reigning world champion, was to put him back out of the leader's box. Weston and his arch-rival, 2-time world champion and the reigning Olympic champion Christopher Groothaar had been head and shoulders above the rest of the field in the first heat, and they too somehow proved that there was still some speed left in the track. His second run was getting on for a second slower than his first, but it still shaded out all of the rivals to the delight of his soaking wet mum and dad. Fastest in the first heat, 2-time world champion Christopher Groothaar, the reigning Olympic champion. He won both his titles on Altenberg, the toughest driver's track in Europe. This, a very different kettle of fish, but one that the German knows extremely well. He'd been 0.03 of a second only ahead of Matt Weston from the first heat. Weston outstarted him again in the second, and for a while it looked as if Groothaar was going to struggle to get back on par. But entering the lower part of the track, he just had enough to claw his way back. The overnight advantage, 0.04 of a second. It is still effectively a 2-horse race and as near a dead heat as you can ask for. 0.04 covered the top 2, third place, 0.75 of a second back. The battle for gold, Weston versus Groothaar.